not against us is for us. In that, he says, whoever does not deliberately exclude themselves from the body of Christ, whoever does not deliberately exclude themselves from the community of faith or from the embrace of God, if they don't deliberately exclude themselves, then each of them is a fully living member of the body, fully in the fold of the community, fully in the arms of God, head to toe, to heart and soul. All God ever needs from us is a softly said yes. A stutter step of trust is a leap of faith if we can dare to let go for just one moment. God only needs a moment. God acts among us in a community of faith, especially in a community of faith where we seek the wellness and the wholeness of one another. God only needs a moment of trust. Are you ready to hear my confession? Well, one yes, everyone else is like, good. I confess, I get offended when people who I perceive aren't that concerned about the suffering of certain other people. I get offended when those unconcerned people say to or of those certain other people thoughts and prayers. I get offended. I get a little angry because I know that we could unite as a community, and with thought and prayer, we could do a lot of hands-on work to help and to heal and to make holy the suffering of others, to help and to heal and make holy the lives of other people. Yes, suffering can be made sacred, but suffering by itself still sucks. But that's another sermon. When you and I try just a little bit, just a sincere, even if faltering little bit to love God, when we try just a little bit to love one another, and yes, when we try just a little bit to love ourselves, one sincere little bit, even saying, help me, God. I want to love you. I want to love myself. I want to love other people. That makes all the difference in the world to God. And in a community of faith as small as a handful, in a faith life as small as a mustard seed, that makes all the difference in the world. When you and I turn our faces toward God, even for just 1 second, God's deep love for us and God's deep grace for us can fill us. Not because we're obedient, but because we're open. The desire to be open, to be just a little bit vulnerable and open to love, to kindness, to grace, that gives God and it gives others a way in. It gives God and others a way to connect with us. Today, Jesus says, if they aren't against us, they are for us. I think this would be a wonderful world if in our culture today, we could hear people say that. If they aren't against us, they're for us. Instead of what we do here, if they aren't for us, they're completely against us. We find enemies in the least bit of not being sure we're supporting. But Jesus said, if they aren't against us, they are for us. He seems to be saying, seek a friend in other people, seek an ally, don't look for an enemy, seek a gracious connection in others who seem to be different, who may in fact be different. Remember, they are God's children too. And with them in spirit, we can help God to shine and pour love and grace to us and through us to those around us. Now, I know you heard them because I heard you wincing. Jesus says some other things today that were pretty harsh. Hear it from me now. Please don't cut off your hand. Please do not gouge your eye out. He is not speaking literally. Self-harm is not self-love. Remember, Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. He didn't say love your neighbor instead of yourself. In today's passage about cutting things off that cause you to act poorly, Jesus meant find in yourself that which keeps you from truly loving others. What keeps you from truly loving God. What keeps you from truly loving yourself in a sincere way. Find what keeps you from doing that. Find that fear. Find that hurt. Find that mistrust. Find that shame. And put it down for just 1 minute. God knows we carry those things: hurt, anger, shame, mistrust, and fear. God knows we carry those as shields to guard against more hurt. But if we can set it down and say for a minute and say, I'm open, God. Set it down for a minute and say, help me, God. Or even say, I don't know a thing about you, God, but for this one moment, I will try to trust you. And slowly, in stutter steps, we may find ourselves in the fold of a small group of people whom we dare to love just a little bit. More importantly, perhaps, whom we dare to let love us for a second. We live into those seconds. Those seconds are steps with God. Even if they're stutter steps, because God actually loves our stutter steps dearly. Whoever is not against us is for us. God is for us. Others can be for us. Even we can be for us, for the love of God. So let us. Amen.